and I am going to give you instructions on how to go about completing your homework, which includes the review exercise and questions for Chapter 4, number 1, A through D, and then we're also going to look at Chapter 5, but that will be in the next video. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create the frequency tables or frequency distributions that the book is asking us to make. So if you recall, in class we together created our own data set. So if you'll pull that up on your computer and see that you have your case number column here, your main substance abused, your age, and your number of treatment sessions attended. And if you recall, that is a replication of the data from Chapter 4, page 44, table 4.12. And so in class, we were working on the first frequency distribution table. And so if, again, you recall, we were starting off by listing all of the different possible types. I'm actually going to make this full screen now. So we have all the possible types in all the possible categories in our variable: alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and other. And then we used the COUNTIF formula to tell us how many times the word alcohol occurred in this range of case number 1, which is B2, all the way down to case number 30, which is B31. So if you follow along, you'll find that the formula gives you two different values to put in. First of all, you have to put in the range, which is where you want it to look for the thing that you're going to ask it to look for. And so we've done that here, but you should also include the $, because that means this is not going to shift down or up any cells when we copy and paste this to our next category of marijuana. So add the $, before the row, before the column and before the row for each one, and then put a comma, and then F6 is what we want it to look for. So F6 is simply alcohol. And so when we press enter, then we get the frequency of 8. So that tells us that alcohol occurs in this column 8 times. And then what we did was we wanted to copy and paste that formula. So we just put our cursor on the little box until it became the little black plus, and we clicked and dragged all the way down to other. And then, of course, that was already there on my screen, but it did do that. So now you can check, double check that this is properly copied and pasted by going back and saying, okay, yes, that is the correct range, and yes, that is the correct criteria, and then press enter. In the next video, I will show you how to calculate the proportion. Here again, picking up where the last video left off. So we just created our frequency distribution for the main substance abused, and as you can see here, I gave some headers to my table. So this is saying that this is the type in this column, this is the frequency in this column, and then next we're going to make proportion. So to make the proportion, if you recall, the formula for a proportion is simply, I'll click up here, it's going to be the number of whatever it is that you're looking to find the proportion for, and then divided by the total sample, which is n. And so in this example, we would want to look at the proportion of alcohol in our entire sample. So alcohol has the frequency of 8, so that would replace the number sign here in our formula, and then N is referring to the total number of our sample, and we know that to be 30. So I'm going to click down here again. That was just demonstrating the basic formula if you were to write it out. But now we're going to use Excel formula to calculate the proportion. So what you do is, let me delete this and then I will rewrite it. So you're basically going to reconstruct that same formula I just wrote, but instead of doing the number signs and the 8, you're going to tell it where to find the information. So I know that I want to find the proportion of alcohol to the whole sample. So I'm going to click on 8, and that tells it that's the number it needs to use. And then the symbol for fraction or divide is a /, and then here you can just tell it the total, which is 30. Since we already know that, this is a small sample, so we don't need to go into great detail with doing a sum of the total frequency. And so then we get 2.6667. And so just as we did with the first formula here in frequency, we're also going to just copy and drag this down to the other row. So again, go to the little black box, make it black cross, and then drag it down. Now you don't want to go to total because that would be 30 over 30 equals 1. So only go down to other, and then, so we've finished our proportion. Good job. Next video we will look at how to make the percentage. There we go. We just finished up video 2, which explained how to calculate the proportion for this frequency table. So now we want to convert that to a percentage, and this is really easy. The easiest way to do that would be to tell it, so the formula for a percentage is taking your fraction, or your decimal number, so for alcohol it's 0.267, and then you're just going to multiply that by 100. For Excel, the symbol for multiplication is an asterisk. You'll find that on the 8 number key on a PC. So then you're just going to multiply it by 100. Whoops. So that didn't work when I pressed enter because I did not include an equals sign. So you need to include the equals sign, and there you go, 26%. Now another way to do that would be to use this nifty little thing up here called percent style. So that not only calculates the percent for you like we just did, but it also puts a percentage sign there. So it makes it look a little prettier. So let's do that. Let's use the Excel function. So here we're going to actually copy and paste these. Whoops. So you need to copy and then go to paste. You're going to right click or bring up your paste function, but we want to only paste the values. The reason why it looked wrong when I just said paste was because it was calculating the proportion of the cell next to it. So just go to values. All we want is to make a copy these values, and so here we've done that. And so you'll want to click escape so that you deselect this section, so hit escape, and then select all of those numbers you want to turn into a percentage, and then go click the percent button, and ta-da! Look how pretty it is. So now we know that marijuana was abused by 33% of our sample. I know that was a burning question for you, so now it's answered. Now what you can do is make this pretty. You can put all of this in a center alignment. So select them all and then center the content. And you could do that for the total as well if you wanted to. You can also tell it that this is a table, and so it would format it like a table. You can go up to the Styles section, click Format as Table, and select any of these. So let's select this table light. It says, where is the data for your table? It already knows that because we've selected it. And you say, my table does have headers, because it does. These are the headers in our table. So we click OK, and yeah, that's wrong because it thinks that main substance abused was a header. So I need to undo that and only select the actual table itself. So I'm going to do that without including the main substance abused, and then go to the same place, have the same things checked. Now we have a table. Hooray!